Welcome to Film and Page. I'm Dominic. So in this video, I'm going to talk about two things. First, it's going to be the Midnight's Edge video, Dune, is it going for broke after all? And the second thing I'm going to talk about is David Lynch's comments on the upcoming Dune film in December. So in this Midnight's Edge video that came out 3-4 days ago, now there's really nothing new in this video. It's just Andre giving his opinion on the Vanity Fair piece and the photos that came out and stuff like that. So I was kind of humming and hawing if I should make a video about it at all. But there's a few things when I kind of thought about it that were kind of interesting that gets brought up. So I decided to make a video. So one of the things he talks about is how he thinks the Vanity Fair is a puff piece. It's basically a bone being thrown out to the SJW film media to kind of head off any kind of controversy that this film might face, because they want that media on their side, because they're worried they might face media backlash, or they don't want to get attacked the way the Joker film got attacked. Now, whether that kind of controversy would work for Dune or not, like it did Joker, obviously it worked for Joker, because Joker made $1 billion and actually made the SJW media all look like fools. But would that work for Dune? I honestly have no idea. There's no way to know that. But my thinking is probably the filmmakers want to avoid that kind of controversy because they want to play it safe. I think they want to go the safe route with this movie. They don't want to take that kind of a gamble on that. Now, the interesting thing that Andre says about the Vanity Fair is not to take it so seriously, to take it with a grain of salt. And he uses an example from the Ghostbusters 2016 film that I thought was really interesting. When that movie was coming out, and there's a lot of PR around the movie and stuff, Ivan Reitman, there's a press statement released by him of him praising the movie and saying the movie was really good. And but because of the Sony hacks and leaks that were revealed because of that, it was found out later on that he never even wrote that. He never even said that, Ivan Reitman. That was something that was drawn up by Sony's PR department, and Ivan Reitman's agents just signed off on it. And it wasn't until after the Ghostbusters 2016 movie came out and bombed and went away that the people involved with the original Ghostbusters movie, like Ivan Reitman and the original actors, could actually be honest about the Ghostbusters 2016 film. Because of the Sony hack, it turned out that they were actually under contract to say good things about Ghostbusters 2016. So he uses that as an example of not to take this puff piece by Vanity Fair too seriously. Now, I know that's had a lot of red flags for a lot of people because of stuff that was said in that article. And, for me, the most eye-rolling thing was the Greta Thunberg comparison. That just totally made my eyes roll. But obviously, someone thought the same thing in behind some decision-making place, because that was taken out of the article. That's gone from the article out there. Gone from the article now. You can't even find it. And the other interesting thing that was brought up in this video, this is actually brought up by Mr. H, and it's that still shot of Paul Atreides on the beach with the transport ships in the background and stuff like that. They were saying that might be a shot from the actual trailer because it has motion blurring on the ships in the background. So it's not something that would have been taken by a photographer on set for promotional purposes. So that was kind of an interesting observation. So that might actually be a shot from the trailer. So I thought that was cool. So yeah, not really anything new in that video, but one thing I have to talk about is I looked through the comments section. So basically, jumping ahead of myself here, but in the video, the final conclusion of the video is Andre thinks that this movie is not going to be woke. Dune 2020 is not going to be woke, and it's going to be a really good film, and despite the Vanity Fair piece. And he makes a very good argument for that in the video. However, I looked through the comment section of that video and read a bunch of comments, and the commenters on that video are not on his side at all. There's a lot of pushback in the comment section against that video. A lot of hardliners that are saying, no, this movie's going to be woke, I'm out, no, I'm out, and some really weird arguments. I actually wanted to tackle some of the arguments in this video, but I tried that, and the video would be way too long, so I'm actually going to do a separate video on that. But, yeah, so that was interesting to see that. But I think overall with that video, I have to agree. I don't think the movie's going to be woke, despite whatever that Vanity Fair article said. So now, the next thing I want to talk about is David Lynch's comments on the new Dune film. So this was something that I wasn't going to do a video about just on its own because, in my opinion, I don't really think it was news because it's not news to me. I've heard David Lynch give his opinion on this movie over the years. So this reaction is not surprising at all. But I wanted to include it with something else, but not talk about it just on its own. So he was interviewed by The Hollywood Reporter, and it was just talking about what he's doing during the quarantine situation and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of an interesting interview, and kind of shows how much of a new agey guy David Lynch is, because it's kind of an interesting interview, and I'll leave a link for the full interview in the description of this video. But he was asked about Denis Villeneuve's new Dune movie. So this is what he was asked. This week, they released a few photos from the new big screen adaptation of Dune by Denis Villeneuve. Have you seen them? His response, I have zero interest in Dune. Why is that? Because it was a heartache for me. It was a failure and I didn't have final cut. I've told this story a billion times. It's not the film I wanted to make. I like certain parts of it very much, but it was a total failure for me. And then he was asked again, would you ever see someone else's adaptation of Dune? Which he responded again, I said, I've got zero interest. So that doesn't surprise me at all. I've read a lot of interviews of David Lynch talking about Dune and how he lost creative control on that movie. And when you read about it, I think that movie would have done a lot better if not for huge amounts of studio interference. Like, he really had to compromise a lot of the ideas he wanted to put in Dune because of budgetary reasons. Like, the budget got slashed a lot and they cheaped out. And plus, I mean, it's pretty well documented. And then he didn't get final cut and stuff like that. And the other thing, it didn't just seem like the studio had no faith in that movie and had everything going against it, which is kind of interesting. He had a lot more grander things he wanted to show in that movie and didn't get to do it because they figured, well, we don't have the budget for that, so he had to compromise a lot. So that was kind of interesting. So kind of makes me wonder what would have happened if the studio had to throw the budget he wanted into the script and he didn't have to compromise. Because originally David Lynch actually wanted the original 84 Dune to be 2 movies, like the new one that's coming out. He had written a script that was for 2 films. He wanted the story to be split in 2, which is really interesting, but then obviously the studio didn't want that and he had to compress it all down into 1 movie. And so yeah, it was a big flop for him. So I can see why he's just done with it and doesn't want to, have anything else to do with it. It's just like a horrible ex-girlfriend now and stuff like that. And that's why he's got no interest in the new stuff, in the new Dune film. So this statement doesn't surprise me at all that he would say this. But, it's a natural thing to ask him, I guess, but in the interview. But like I've said, but it's true, though. He's told the story a million times because I've read that story about a million times, and he's talked about it a lot, his experience with Dune. So that's everything I got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I will see you at the next one. I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you all in helping this channel grow. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded.